All right, so this particular section elevation, I'll try to talk you all through what you should do in the event that you have different levels within your building, okay? So starting out with the stairs, you can see these are the lines that I brought on the side over here. So I'll be focusing on those first before I move on to the building area. Now you need to refer to your elevation to see what the heights of your staircases are. So by measuring them, we know we have 3 steps or risers totaling 300 millimeters. So for each one, we're going to measure up 100 millimeters. Let's double check. We brought down 1, 2, 3 lines. We're going to start from here. This corner here. Bring it across. And then I'm going to offset 100. 100. 100. So the first staircase would be this piece here, the second would be this piece right here. So you can either trim or shorten the stairs. And then for this one here, you can either trim or shorten it. It's up to you. Yeah. Once that is done, then you can trim the excess lines. So trim. Like that. So that's the staircase that we have so far. Now moving on to the veranda level, which is from this section here, go back towards the door. So remember, the step up is at this line, the first one. So going back to our elevation, we're going to measure the distance from the veranda level. It's 100. So we're going to go back over here. Wait, sorry. It's from the staircase, the veranda. Let's say 100. So we're going to come back across. You want to take offset at 100, or you can draw a line that's 100 meters long, extend it to the first edge right here. So this section here would be your veranda level. And then from here, you do the same thing again. Instead of drawing the line over, I'm going to just copy it because the height is 100. So from here, go across is 100. Now, the reason why I brought down this line right here is because if you look at the floor plan, you'll realize that as you enter the building, there's a step up from that foyer, or that stepping area of the building. So that's why I'm having the step up from that entrance area here. So it's like you have to step to go into the kitchen or the dining room or the living room from this area. So from here, I'm going to repeat the same thing. Copy the height. It hasn't changed, it's still 100. And from this point, bring it across. Now, the only thing is that I'm going to shorten this line here, so it shows that that level ends at that section right there. With that being said, I'll just trim the excess lines. I'm going to leave these as it is for now. Bring up these lines. And after the fact, we can remove this one because this isn't a wall. So this here is the entrance area. This one is the back section. This portion right here will be the kitchen, while this is the entrance from in the veranda into the house. And from there, then you can establish the height of your building, which I've already done over here. And from the FFL, which is this yellow dashed line, the height is 3,000. So from the highest height, I'm going to offset 3,000. And then I'm going to extend that height from one edge of the building to the other. Like so. And that being done, we trim the excess lines for now, because we don't need them. All right. So I'm not going to go through the whole process of actually adding fixtures or how fixtures should be shown within the sectional elevation, because we did that in class already. The only thing I'm focusing on is basically going over the roof foundation and just doing the necessary labeling that you need to do for each room. All right. So moving on, as you can see, in this cut section right here, you'd realize that only this portion of the building is what you can see inside. You know, the other portion, which is over here, is the section that you can't see. So be mindful if you're doing a sectional elevation like this. You need to show what's within this portion here. You don't need to show what's within the building here, but you need to show the outside portion of the elevated portion of the building, which you're going to see in a while. So from here, give me 2 minutes, please. All right. Okay, so what was that again? So yes, so I will not be going through the whole process of putting fixtures within the building because I've shown you all that already. I'm going to just focus on the other things I wasn't able to complete in class, like the hatch or earth fill, gravel, sand, etc. Okay, so any necessary things that you have to include in your building, do so for yourself. Now, if you realize on this side of the building, I don't have any windows, so I don't need to show any windows on this portion of the sectional elevation seen that is outside. My line does not pass through any window, but it passes through a door, which is right here. Now, in that case, usually you have to indicate that there's a door space. They don't need to go through the stress of actually drawing the door itself. So, establishing the height of the door, which is 2,000. Sorry, wrong one. So, offset 2,000 from this level right here. Then you're going to trim the excess. And this space right here will be a door space. Now the thing is that this is where the door would be. This section here is a wall. Moving on to the roof. So just like what we did for the floor plan, we're going to do the same thing for the roof plan. Bring down the lines, the edges of the roof. I'm going to extend my lines to the height of the roof so I know which is which. From there, I'm gonna then create the slope of my roof. So angle to 20 degrees, come across, enter, and then establish the sides of the hip and valley roof, like so. Remove the excess lines, shorten the lines that need to be shortened, and remove the extension lines once I'm finished. Like so. Now again, be mindful of which portion of the building is actually inside from which portion is outside. Now seeing that this portion here is the inside, that means you have to show the cut section of the fascia board. So in this case, 300 by 25 by 300 and close. We're going to copy this shape and bring it over to the other side. And then from there, I'm going to extend the fascia board because remember this is the outside. So you're looking at the length of the fascia board from the outside, and then I close it in like this. Remove all excess lines. So it looks something like that for now. Now you have to create your rafters. Now seeing that this is a cut section, it means that we should be seeing the length of our rafters. We will not be able to see any thickness. The only thickness we'll be able to see is the ridge board within the center here. So doesn't matter which size your rafters are at, whether it's 100 or 150, just enter them. Now the thickness on both sides, enter. Trim the lines what need to be trimmed. Extend the lines what need to be extended. Like so. Again, trim the excess lines. And then you create a ridge board within the center. So 50, 100, 50, and then close it. So from there you move it. What you're gonna realize is that you have to shift the ridge, or probably shift the dimensions a bit to suit the rafters. So we're gonna move it down a bit to this portion here, and then we're gonna move this section here to meet this top portion right there. Then extend to meet these two parts right there. Trim the excess lines. You're gonna offset by 13. No, by 13. Let's see 10. To represent the galvanized, even though that's not really accurate. Just to close up that area right there. Alright. Chamfer. Trim the excess lines. Okay. So that is how we represent our roof. Now, seeing that the wall doesn't stop here, it needs to go up towards the roof, so we're going to extend any wall within the building to touch the ceiling of the roof. And then from here, what we're going to do is bring down the rafters. Because you can see from this angle where it's cut at, we're going to only see the length of these two rafters right here. We will not be able to see those at the back. But if you realize there's a space right here, and that space represents those rafters within the back section of the building, which are here. So instead of having to go and draw your rafters all over again, all you need to do is extend to this building height right here, right click, and then select the rafters that you want to extend onto your elevation. Now, this wouldn't work if your roof plan and your floor plan aren't the same size. You may experience problems. If you don't experience any problems in doing this, that means that all the measurements that you've done so far on your floor plan should be okay. So, burn down all my rafters, escape, and from here what I'll do, trim, select the inner section because that's what I want to remove the excess from. And if you want to save these rafters up here, you select the inner section here as well. Right click, come within the center and remove all the excess lines. So that way you keep, oops. Okay. That way you actually keep the rafters within this area here and your roof plan. I'm guessing I forgot to bring down a line, so instead of having to extend it, I'll just offset this portion here at 50. Bring it inwards and just extend it to close up the area, like so. Now, seeing that this rafter is, so I thought it was behind the wall, but it's right next to the wall, so we have no problems right now. With that being said, we need to trim this line in between here. And then include our ridge cap for our roof. Ridge cap is 100. It could also be 150, doesn't matter. Extend the line to meet the edge of the roof. Trim all excess lines. Trim. Alright. And then you include your galvanize on this outer section of the roof. Now again, not everybody would have an elevated section of the, well, not everyone's building is an L shape. So it depends on the persons who did, let's say, a rectangular floor plan. You will not be fortunate enough to actually draw a portion of your building, which is just the outside or exterior of the building. For some of you who may have done so, it means that this is only portion of the building that you need to show detail within. And this portion here will just represent like a regular elevation. So back to the galvanize. Select hatch. And then I'm going to use the pattern user, which is at the bottom, and select the area. All right. Again, you can adjust the space. I don't want my space to be 300. I want it to be 100. If you want to be 150, you can have that 150 as well. It does not matter. Once that is done, you close it. Again, remember, I don't have any windows on my floor plan over here, so I don't need to show any windows or doors on this section of the building. All right, looking back to make sure everything's okay. So far, everything looks fine. All right. Now before I move on, I'm going to trim the ground level underneath the cut section of the building, which is here. So this here represents the ground level on the outside of the building, and this here represents the cut section within the building. Now again, once all the lines are lined up, once all your measurements are accurate, you can basically just transfer the width of your foundation or roof plans onto your section elevation. So in this case, I'm going to do my foundation now. So I'm going to take my center lines and bring them down. Now, again, remember this here is the cut section of our building. That this portion right here, you will not be able to see the foundation because this line does not pass through this portion of the building. So it's going to look like a regular elevation. If you want to include the line, you can. If you don't want to, you don't need to. All you do is just extend this side of the line here downwards. Now, if you go back to your foundation, you're going to realize that your walls are 200 millimeters thick, 200 millimeters high, by 400 millimeters wide. What we're focusing on here is basically the thickness of the wall. Okay. Same thing for over here. The thickness of this slab is 225, which you're going to see in a moment, and the width is 600, which is this here. So coming back to this portion here, we're going to look at where our line passes through. Now, as you can see, it passes through this section right here. So you need to show the wall thickness. You also need to show the footing of the wall, of the foundation as well, because the line passes through it. If the line wasn't, then you will have represented it as a hidden line, which I'm going to show you on this portion over here. But seeing that the line actually passes through it, we need to show the footing as well. So back to down here, the thickness of our wall is 200. So that means from the center, we have to offset 100 millimeters on both sides. If you look carefully, you'll see that my lines basically line up with the perimeter of the building. You see how I offset by 100 and it basically snapped within the edge of it. Same thing with this section. Enter. Now, the depth of my foundation would be 900 from the ground level. All right, so sorry about that. So the depth of my foundation would be 900 millimeters from the ground level. So I'm going to offset 900 from the outer area I'm going to go down and then extend my line from here, go right across. Because remember, the foundation doesn't only stop within the cut section, it's within the entire width of the building. Then I'm going to offset by 225. That's the thickness of the foundation footing. So from here downwards, 225. Escape. I can remove my center lines for now. That's for the foundation. So I can delete them. Then the width of my foundation footings, if you look back at your notes within the foundation section here, it's basically 600 millimeters wide. So you see how wide these two yellow dashed lines are. We're going to then create the same thing over here. What you're going to realize is that this thickness here is already 600, so that means you have to include another 600 on both sides. So 200, sorry, you have to include 200 on both sides, my bad. So it'll be 200, 200, 200 to make 600. So if you want to get, oops. If you want to draw a line here, and draw another line over here, then you offset 200, 200 on the left side, 200 on the right side. Remove the excess lines. And you can basically copy this to place on the other sections. Trim, trim. Don't forget to extend the line for this portion right here. Again, you're going to need to offset at 200 millimeters on the outside, because if you look at this portion of the foundation, this here is basically where the edge of your building is. And then you can see the footing projects 200 millimeters outwards. So from here, you offset at 200. And all we need to do is trim the excess lines. And that's basically how your foundation is going to look for now. Now, if you realize, you can trim these lines here because you don't need them anymore. So trim, select the 4 levels, right click, and move. And for this portion right here, this line right here, you can basically trim it, but in this case, I'll just shorten it. Need this height right there. Now, all I'm doing is just adjusting the height of my wall. So when it comes to the next step, few steps, I won't be confused. Okay. So remember, this here is our ground level, so it needs to come outside. This here will represent one of the posts within the veranda. Now I think I made a mistake here. You see this portion of the building of the veranda right here? If you look at the roof plan, or if you look at the floor plan, you realize the wall ends at this section here. So all you're going to be seeing is a wall. So my mistake, this portion here needs to be removed. Doesn't belong. So again, always remember to check both your roof plan and your floor plan to make sure it corresponds with your sectional elevation. All right. So the roof is intact, the walls are intact. I'm going to just put them in the same layer as elevation. All right. Foundation footing is intact. Again, I have a layer for that as well. Foundation wall. I'll be trimming the pieces inside here. Now again, as I said earlier, because the cutting line passes through the footing, that means I have to show the or represent the footing as a solid red line, not a hidden line. If you're doing a pad foundation, it means that all you need is these portions right here. And you don't need all these excess lines within the center. If you're doing a pad foundation, all you need to do is just represent these here using hidden lines within the back section of the building here. But seeing that we're doing a strip foundation, all we need to do is make all of these lines here a solid line, except for those on the outer edge here. So what I'm going to do is trim from this portion here. Everything else I'm going to create as a solid line. So again, I'm going to just use one foundation wall to represent this portion right here. And what I'm going to do is extend this line towards here. So select extend, select the footing, right click. Like so. And if you remember, as I said, seeing that this portion of the building is not cut through, you will not be able to see any of the foundation because it's far behind within the door. So we'll represent these here using hidden lines. So I'm going to shorten this portion. A matter of fact, I'm going to use a separate line for this section right here. So I'm going to trim. I'm going to trim. Then I'm going to redraw a line from this section here to there. And then this entire portion here would be a hidden line. I'm going to use a foundation footing because it's basically a hidden line. I'm going to leave it like that. So again, because the line cut through this section is going to be a solid or red line, because this portion here is behind the dot, it's going to be represented using a hidden line. Okay. Now moving on to the labeling and whatnot. So what I did not show you was basically how we have to label, name, and dimension sectionals. Hence the reason why I gave you the extension date for this SBA. So before I move on, I'm going to just fix a few things that I see wrong, like this here. Trim, right click, trim the excess lines. Okay. So what you need to do is include the thickness of your slabs. Also include the BRC, damp proofing, sand binding, and hardcore, including the earth fill, which they all are within AutoCAD within the hatch layer. So the thickness of our flooring would be 150 millimeters. So we're going to offset 150. And seeing that I have several levels, my flooring would look like this. Doesn't necessarily mean that yours would look exactly like mine's. So again, because I know my flooring, this is what my fluence will look like. I'm basically going to offset by 150. Then chamfer. Okay. Then come into this portion here. I'm going to trim. Then I'm going to chamfer these. Oh, I can't chamfer that way. I'm going to extend this line here outwards, like so. And then we're going to trim this line in between here, like that. So this here is my flooring. So over again, staircase on the outside, around the level, entrance into the building, finished floor level, which is within the kitchen area and all other areas of the building. That's it. Now, the sand binding is basically 75 millimeters thick. So what you're going to do is, again, offset 75. 75 from here, offset downwards, offset downwards, offset downwards. Offset across, offset across. Wrongly, this portion. Remove this line. What I'm going to do here is basically the chamfer. The same thing for over here. Chamfer. And then I'm going to remove the excess lines on the portion over here. Now again, I apologize for the noise in the background if you may be hearing it. It's basically birds chirping. Alright. By the way, we need to remove this here. Oh, alright. Keep this portion right here. And you remove this portion right here. Yeah. Oops. Alright, so flooring. I'll trim this portion right here. So flooring, thickness of some wait. Yeah, alright. And then you need to include the hardcore, which is 150. So wait, hold on. This is a flooring. This is a sand binding. No, I forgot was a damp proofing. The damp proofing, I'll come back to that in a while because it's a thick line. Which I'll come back to that part just now. So again, 4 slab, sand binding, then the gravel. So I'm gonna offset. As a matter of fact, I'll just make a polyline to make this a bit easier for me. Then offset at 150. So that's basically, wait, no, not 150, 225. That there would represent the hardcore. And then the excess area beneath would be the earth fill. All right. So again, floor slab, sand binding, hard core or the gravel, and then the earth fill below. Now what we need to do is trim the excess lines within here, right there. And then give an area which you want the earth fill to be at. So I'm going to extend mine to on both sides. And then we're going to remove these lines afterwards, but all for now, we're going to keep them here still. All right. Now for the for the damp proof, which I didn't represent here, we're going to include within the sand binding. So what you're going to do is offset at, let's see, 2 millimeters. From here, we're going to go downwards. Now, if you see how thin this is, that's basically going to represent our damp proofing. It's basically a thin piece of plastic like material that's placed underneath flooring to prevent moisture from getting into the concrete. So, chamfer, trim, chamfer, trim, and then this portion there stays the same. So, floor slab, damp proofing, sand binding, gravel, and earth fill. All right. Now what we're going to do is create layers for each of them. Now, layer properties. Sand binding. Gravel. Earth fill. All right. Now keeping the same elevation layer for the following, what we're going to do is indicate that this portion of the building is cut, or usually you show that by using diagonal lines. So within the hatch, you're going to look for this, not steel. We're going to take ENS 123 or 132, sorry, and fill in the areas of the wall that is cut through. Oops. In this portion here. No, does this section need to be? No, I don't think so. Now again, if you realize the line does not pass through the wall, so that means that you don't need to indicate or shade the area. You only need to shade the area that the line passes through, like the external wall on this side over here. And if you realize I have the bottom portion of the wall unshaded, and the top portion shaded. This basically indicates that there's an entrance from the veranda into the house. Now I'm gonna increase the spacing between these lines by, let's say, 500. Let's try 700. I'll say probably 900 would be best. Yeah, that looks better. So I'm going to increase the spacing in between as 900, so it's evenly spaced. Now once that's done, I'm going to fix this over here, which should be extended. Check to see whether the rafter is in front or behind. In this case, it's behind. Wait, hold on. Well, it's behind. The post is behind. So that means I need to trim the thickness like so. All right. Now the damp proofing, we're going to keep as red because it needs to be represented as a thick dark line. So hatch, solid. We're going to zoom in carefully and select the area. Now what you're going to realize is that you may see pop-ups like this. So let's try something else. So okay, so let's try to select the points then. Okay, so I realize this isn't working at all. So what we'll do is basically include a thick, just increase the thickness of that particular line that separates the foundation, the slab from the sand binding. So if you won't mind selecting this line right here, come up to match properties. Properties, what you're going to realize is that they have thickness by layer and line type by layer. You're going to select line weight. Now we're going to increase that line thickness to, let's see, 0.7, yeah, let's do 0.2 millimeters. Now you may not be able to see any changes made to that line, but when it's printed, it should show thicker than usual. So back to the other part, the sand binding. So the color for sand binding, where is it? This here. We're going to put it as yellow. Then the gravel. Oops. Then the gravel would be orange. So the sand yellow, gravel orange, the earth fill, let's just say green. Select OK. Once that is done, close it off. Okay, done. Alright. So coming back to this portion here, we're going to select sand binding, which is yellow. Go over to hatch. Look for the pattern sand. Sand. It's basically small grains. Here it is. ER sand. We're going to then select the point that you want to fill with sand, which is this area here. Now what you're going to do is decrease the size to, let's say, 100. And you may be able to see some sand particles. For some of you, you may be able to see it in the cluster, so you'll have to make the size a bit bigger. I want mine to be, let's say, 50. Try 25. Okay. Try 12, 10. All right. So that looks a bit better. 10. So the sand grain sizes would be 10. Then we're going to move on to the gravel. Again, change the layer to gravel, which is orange. Select hatch. And then we're going to look for the pattern gravel, which is here. Fill in the area. And from where you're at, you may be able to see what I see, which is basically a solid color. All you need to do is change the pattern. So let's try 150. Then you'll be able to see the gravel grains. And then the last one is basically the earth fill, which is below the gravel. So again, select earth fill. Change the pattern. What you're going to look is for something that looks like this, but more compact. I think I just passed it. Yep, I just passed it. I believe it's this here. It's a simpler version too. Yeah. And then fill in the necessary areas. Now again, for there, what you might see is that it's blown up. So all you need to do is decrease the size, let's say by 50. 50 looks okay, but I'll bring it down to 25. And it should look like this. Now all you need to do is tilt the angle at 45. And then you have your earth fill. So again, the damp proofing will be in between here. Sand binding, you have your gravel, your earth fill. And basically the earth fill is from here to go way past the foundation, but for now we'll just leave it at that. Okay. Oh, we need to fill in this portion over here with earth fill as well. Mm. Okay, so let's try this over again. See, it's not working properly. So hatch ARPRQ1, shade the areas to represent the earth fill. Enter. And then you can remove the excess lines. So these lines here, you can basically remove them. If you want, we could shorten the ground level if you wish. On both sides. Escape. And you basically have the outline for your sectional. All right. Need to show. Oh, there's one more thing. The concrete for the slab. So changing. Well, usually afterwards. Look for concrete. AR con. Select this area here. Again, you can create it a little bit denser or more compact. Make it a 12, let's see. All I'm gonna do is just change the color to regular elevation. So it could be red. So it looks something like this. If you want, you can remove the lines in between the earth fill and the gravel, as well as between the gravel and the sand binding. You don't need to have it there. If you want to, that's fine. If you want to remove it to make your work look a little bit better, you can do so as well. Good. All right. Now this is basically the last part in terms of dimension and labeling for your sectional elevation. It's not as hard as the others. All you need to do is name the parts of your room. So all the rooms that the line passes through, you need to label them. So I'm going to change my layer to dimension, annotate, single line, specify height of text. Mine will be 150. Orientation, horizontal. Then this portion here would be my kitchen. And then over here would be my veranda. If you have any other rooms coming across, you basically label them as well. Once that is done, you escape. And then you need to dimension at least one side. So he'll be showing the height of your roof, the height of your fascia board, wherever your windows may stop, where your FFL is from the ground level, and the depth of the foundation as well. So using the dimension line, let's start from the foundation area. So thickness of the foundation, 225. We're going to bring it out by 2000 this time. We're going to continue. establish the state where the ground level is, ground level to FFL. From the FFL, you can include the building height if you want, or you can include the fascia board. In my case, what I'm going to do is include the fascia board, and then the height of the roof. Escape. Now, if you have any fixtures within the building, you need to state the height of it. So let's say your counter will be 900 millimeters from the FFL. You measure that as well. If you have any doors or windows that are visible within the building, you do the same thing. I dimension it just like this part right here. So I'm gonna establish the height of my door, which is 2000 millimeters. Anything else that you need to dimension in terms of height, you do so now. And once that is done, you're gonna then put the total height of the building, starting from the ground level. I mean the foundation, sorry. So tip of the roof. That would be the height. Next portion, what we need to do is label the parts of the roof. Well, the building, sorry. So I need to include the fascia board. You need to include the galvanized plywood. It will ridge cap, galvanized plywood, which you will not be able to see in between here. Rafter, fascia board. You also have to include the slab, sand binding, damp-proof membrane, gravel, and earth fill. So from here, what I'm basically going to do is just label. I'm going to take out the audio, label the following, and then you'll just follow whatever you see right here and include that into your SBA.